We are rolling through plenty of great guests. Chris Sims, Mike Florio, and there he is, Super Bowl 44 champion Sean Payton, one of the great coaches in the National Football League, here with us. Coach, how are you?
Good. I'm doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited about the games this weekend. I mean, this game, obviously it's always difficult not being in it, especially this venue. It was 10 years ago for us, right here.
Right.
And so you kind of land and you're like, you know, when you have a good team. But I think these two teams are gonna make it a difficult game to predict. I think both of them, man, are explosive on offense. Of course, we played San Francisco, but saw a lot of Kansas City film with some common opponents. So I think it'll be great for the league and the fans.
Yeah. Do you ever just think about that? 10 years ago. The call, maybe the bravest call in the history of the Super Bowl, your onside kick to start the second half.
There are a lot of great memories, but I would say what you miss is the, and I mean this, Wednesday's practice, you're on the bus back to the hotel, you're having dinner, meetings, you're back to your room, and then you watch, you go to your room, and every one of us tonight, when we go back to the room at some point, you're watching a Super Bowl of pass.
Right.
The next morning, breakfast, practice, you really want that week to go on because there's this crazy party going on out there that you're not a part of. You're sequestered really at practice and in the hotel, but you know what you're doing is real special.
Right.
And there's nothing like that, and so when the week ends, even when the game ends, there's a little postpartum like that. That's it. We don't get to play anymore.
Right.
It's a Thursday edition of Pro Football Talk Live, NBC Sports Radio, NBCSN. Hello once again to our good friends in the UK and in Ireland on Sky Sports, enjoying the program. Look who we have here, Super Bowl 44 champion Sean Payton, one of the great coaches in the National Football League. And you were talking a minute ago about the surprise onside kick from Super Bowl 44. And there's been so much talk about what they can do to make the onside kick more of an exciting play in the NFL. Although you saw a few onside kicks
trust me,
go the other way.
Just play us, it'll be an exciting play.
Seriously.
We were hoping for 4. We got everyone there. I said, Darren. No, we had our challenges with that play.
But overall, we've seen the percentages drop dramatically given the new configuration of the kickoff. You can't have the running start. The onside kick's such an important part of the game, not just from a surprise standpoint, but when a team is trailing by multiple scores late in the game, you want to give that team a chance to get back into it. Do you have any thoughts as a member of the competition committee on this 4th and 15 alternative?
I'm not a big fan of the 4th and 15.
Me neither.
And one quarterback's going to get hit, and his shoulder's going to get separated on 4th and 15, and you're going to say quickly, I understand the safety relative to the onside kick. I think we can improve. I think we can improve how we do it.
Right.
Inside of 3 minutes. Let's allow maybe a little bit more flexibility. But there's not. I think the most exciting finish to an NFL game, or any game for that matter, is score, onside kick, recover, score.
Right.
Like that, and that's happened a handful of times. And to be on the winning end of that, which I have been, and also on the losing end of it. So I think the mindset of looking at ways we have to keep that opportunity alive. In other words, we can't have a team taking a knee with more time left than we do right now.
Right.
And I think that we will. And I think it was discussed last year. It was brought up. But I think we're going to pay a little bit more attention to just the actual onside kick itself. But what has changed is the alignment on kickoffs in general. And so I don't know 10 years ago if we open the second half with the current configuration of where 8 players are.
Yeah, right.
We were counting on Hank Baskett to leave, and he actually played it pretty well.
Good.
Yeah,
right,
he stayed at home.
Right.
And so you statistically are just going to have less surprise attempts. But how do we improve the obvious onside kick one is something we're looking at.
When did you know you were going to call it? What day of the week did you finally go, you know what, I'm pretty sure I'm going to come out in the second half and do this?
It started with we were looking for an opportunity to steal possession. Peyton was playing so well. Their offense was playing so well. The concern we had was we're back here in Miami. They just had won a Super Bowl here 3 years prior against the Bears. They're at the same hotel room. And part of it was also we're playing to win this game. So there's 2 elements that go into that, literally trying to take a possession away, but also your team understanding, hey, we're going to be aggressive.
Right.
So the night before, and I would rarely talk in a special teams meeting, it just grabbed everyone for 5 minutes and I said, hey, we've had a great week. All right, and it's going to come down to the details. I mean, Garrett Hartley hit He was 3 for 3 at field goals over 40 yards. That was significant. Meanwhile, they miss a 41-yarder and leave us field position. But the message was we're going to be aggressive, and when we call this, and I'm telling you we're calling it. I can't tell you when we're going to call it. You guys got to make me right, and then defense, you're ready for a quick change. So that was that, and then it wasn't until halftime. And then there were a few mistakes that were almost made. You know, the direction we were traveling initially were going to be left to right, which would have put that kick on the Colts sideline. And so we had the ball on offense in the first half. That means we chose which end we wanted to defend, and I chose the wrong end heading into the locker room, made the decision, came back out, and then quickly said, wait a minute, I want to go the other way.
Right.
And so when you have a scrum like we had for 5 minutes.
The longest scrum I've ever seen in a football game.
It helps if it's on your sideline.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
We got it. We got it.
Yeah. Enough people are yelling Saints ball.
Right.
So, no, and look, credit the players, and what was most important though wasn't just recovering; it was the 5-6 play sequence following that scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
And look, Indy came back and scored that very next series, so it just got momentum going, but it also left Payton. You know, that half ended with us kicking a field goal, and then started with us. And it just seemed like there was an hour and a half went by before Payton was back underneath the center. You know,
right.
And that's a long time.
Yes, it is.
When the Chiefs and the 49ers play in the Super Bowl on Sunday, will you be able to watch it as a fan? Can you ever turn off that constant looking and probing, thinking,
it's
is there
hard.
something for next year that I can glean from this game from either team?
It's hard. I try to make sure you watch it in an environment where you can kind of hear the broadcast,
right,
and watch the game, as opposed to we've all been in that environment where you're kind of, there's a lot going on and all of a sudden it's halftime.
Yeah.
You know, I hopefully and I think we'll be able to this year. But look, both of these teams do a lot of good things offensively, and they're extremely fast, both of them.
Yeah.
And you feel it when you watch them. And we played San Francisco, and you got a chance firsthand to see these guys, the running backs, and Debo's, this young receiver, watching him run and move.
Samuel, yeah.
Man, he's going to get 3 or 4 handoffs, and you're going to have to defend him in the running game. And then obviously what Kansas City does with their speed. So there are two teams that you can feel their speed. But to answer your question, it's a little different. I mean, I know this. I can eat like the regular fan can during the game. I don't know if I can watch it the same way, but certainly gravitate to all the things.
Worry about your meat, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Worry about your meat.
I'm going to Whole Foods after a game.
Amazing.
I'm just wanting to relax.
One of the best responses of the year.
One of the great stories of the year.
That
we
was
got another
awesome.
good story, though, from Alvin Kamara. He was here earlier this week on that same topic, not meat, though, but fish. What's with throwing dead fish around the meeting room after you beat Seattle?
So we always have some type of like unique celebration after a win, and depending on the team you play, and so we always see the Seattle scene, and it's Fox. They cut to the fish market,
yes,
right? And so
right.
So it was players of the game, practice squad players, and we had, man, I'm telling you, we had a cooler full of these fish. And I didn't realize how big they were. It was all planned, but not literally practice. Right. And we got down there, and Jay Romick and our staff do a great job. And I'm trying to haul these fish, and it was difficult because the team meeting room is on a slope. The fish weigh like 40 pounds, and the players are going crazy. And the fish is flying around in this. We had like 14 fish, and then I've got somebody who's allergic, and he's telling me not to throw it, and I'm like, no, I'm throwing it. He's like, no, you can't. And it just, it starts Wednesday off with the...
That's a good vibe.
Yes, we've done a lot of different things.
And Alvin said the meeting room stunk like dead fish for the rest of the week.
I'm telling you, you still go in there right now and be like...
You can still smell it?
Just a little.
Right.
That doesn't go away, right?
Right.
It's like the car in Seinfeld.
Yeah. No doubt about it. With there was always talk about how interested you were in Patrick Mahomes coming out in the draft.
Yeah.
Just take us back to
Absolutely.
What jumped out to you about him then, and just what he's become now.
So we spent a day there. We, had an individual day. We were picking at 11, and what you saw on film were some of these off-schedule throws. You saw arm strength, really good arm talent.
Right.
They threw it a lot. There was a lot on him in the offense he was playing. So, it's a 4-wide set. He's getting blitzed. A lot of times they're short in protection, and he just was the spaghetti sauce for a decent team, not a great team.
Right.
And so then it was like the second element. You've done all your tape study, which was pretty exhausting. We go there for a day, and it was an interesting day. We started there. We ended up at Tennessee, saw Kamara, ended up in Ohio State, working out Lattimore and those guys.
Holy cow.
And but he was exceptional in the meeting that we had. We did, we do a series of tests in a room. We give him the install, actually send it to him in an email the night before, put it up on the board, go through it, take us through it. We spent the better part of a whole day, had lunch with him later on, and he was very impressive, and certainly a guy that was a targeted player for us. And so here the draft comes, and the one thing that was unique is Marshon Lattimore was sliding.
Right.
So now in a draft room, you've got a player maybe with a tick higher grade, the corner.
Right.
And yet you've got a potential franchise quarterback, so there's always that dilemma.
Right.
And, that continued to slide. And then when you're in our seat, you want, if two of them fall to 10, you got one of these guys.
Right.
And both fell to 10.
Yeah.
And then Andy went to 10.
Yeah.
And the question that we've never really answered is what would we have done at 11 with both available? And I don't know if we would have changed, because Lattimore's grade was so good.
Yeah, he's great.
And, you're looking at a corner, and there's always that, and the thinking is challenging. There's always that itch. Lattimore helps your team immediately with Breeze. The other player helps your team long term. And so we deal with that a lot.
Right. Yeah. Well, just one quick follow-up with the Mahomes thing. Like, was one of those things when you first saw him throw during that workout where you like,
it's fantastic.
Right? You were like, oh my gosh, because I saw it in person last year, and the first throw, I was like,
he's fantastic.
That's different.
Yeah.
Right.
We saw a lot of traits that you saw with Brett.
Right.
When you watch Favre play.
Right.
And so his film was one thing. We couldn't wait to get down there, and it felt like we were there 8 hours.
Yeah.
And he was tremendous in the film room. I mean, he was such a likable guy, and as we all get older, these players seem younger and younger and younger. And he was one of those guys that you watched him and you just saw a high ceiling.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. There's an old saying in football that if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. You've got three, and you've got three, and they're all great. And how is this going to play out for the Saints next year?
Well, it's a great question. It'll start, obviously, in the next few weeks here with Drew. He and I spoke a little bit after the season, before the Pro Bowl. I think he's going to spend time with his family and really give some thought to, playing again next year. And this will end the right way. In other words, I'm excited with the opportunity of him possibly coming back. I'd love to have him back. We thought he played at a high level.
Yep.
And yet a little bit of time here at the end of the season, I think, is healthy for him. And then I think that's step one before you get into Taysom and Teddy. And we were fortunate. We felt like we had a great room with those three players. We relied on Teddy, and he went 5-0 with us. And so when Drew got back, there were a few things we changed while Drew was gone. Teddy changed up when we met to go through the Saturday night before the game, the final plays. We dot plays. We decided to do that before the snack, not after, and that was different. And then, so by the time Drew got back, he was gone for 3 or 4 weeks in L.A. We're like, no, we're doing this now.
Yeah, right.
And the message is, for all of us, really, is whenever we leave, the train keeps going.
Right.
And, and then, of course, Taysom is doing more and more things. And
he's incredible.
Yeah.
He's the best player on the field for either team in your playoff game.
Yeah.
I'm firmly convinced.
Yeah. I mean, he's impressive. I mean, and you got to be impressed with just every year. It seems like the throwing and the decision making as a quarterback gets better, right?
No question. One thing is hard to the people that aren't in our division. The Atlanta, Tampa Bay, I think Carolina see enough of each other, but his strength relative to his lower body and his ability to block and leverage people, he just loves playing football. And so when you watch him, it's kind of contagious. You see it with our sideline.
Hey, Coach, we know you got a lot to do today. Before we let you go, tell us what you have going on with Zebra Technologies.
Look, we've been partnered with Zebra now, the Saints, for over 3 years. The league is, and it's just player tracking. Our ability to put chips in the shoulder pads.
Right.
We partnered strictly for injury reduction, training camp. When we talk about reducing a practice, how long we're on the field, But it's doing so much for us now besides that. You know, we're able to help it in the evaluation process. The Senior Bowl this year, these players are tracked. So when you go back to watch the film of Patrick Mahomes, you don't have to wait. You can get all the plays right away. You're not looking at socks to see if this is the right corner in the game. It's in the balls now. You know, we're able to track rotation of ball, spin rate. I think it's not long before we see this thing, you know, helping us with the ball crossing the plane. How about the punt that goes out of bounds and the one official runs until the other one waves his hand up?
Right, like that's like the most unexact science ever.
Yeah,
right?
If there ever could be.
Right.
But it's for everyday use. Our fans see it at Target, you know, and it's a simple barcode system that helps you just locate, track, and be more accurate.
All right, toughest thing all day, right here, right now. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Man,
yep.
Listen, I'm looking at both these bobbleheads. First off, you got a color rush game going on because they're both in like dark jerseys, right?
Don't want to be colorblind.
That's when we did like the red and the green.
Right.
Like,
No, but
who thought of that?
Right.
Honestly, seriously.
Yeah.
Can we always have a white jersey?
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm avoiding your question.
Okay. Good job.
I'm going to say this though. This number 10 from Eastern Illinois.
Yeah.
He's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he is.
We spent a lot of time talking about Texas Tech here, and I'm just saying.
Yeah, I hear you. Giving him some respect. He deserves it.
And you saw it at home, what he can do with the game on the line.
Absolutely.
We haven't seen it in the playoffs.
It's not his fault they can't stop him from running the football, right? That's Green Bay's problem.
Yeah, right.
But he had a great year, and honestly, I'm excited to watch this game.
Yeah, good. Good job dodging the question. You're a pro.
Yeah. I have to. I mean,
no, you do.
I have
It's all
to.
good. Don't worry.
Great seeing you as always. Thanks for including us on your tour on behalf of Zebra Technology.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.